Today we're going to talk about Andrew Tate. Did he cross the line yesterday on the PBD podcast that was released? He said a lot of things that were very controversial and things that he's probably said similar in the past, but I've never seen him articulate it or nuance it the way he did. I got to say this up front. Whenever I listen to Andrew Tate, I feel like I'm getting a lot of wisdom. I know everybody doesn't agree with everything he does. I don't agree with everything he does or says, but I certainly respect him, and I certainly take what he says as what is good for overall for men. But we're going to take a look at this. There's two different topics that he raised. He went into the Israel topic and are Jews running the world? And then also he got into feminism, which could honestly land him back in jail. All right, let's take a look at this. This is the first of all regarding Israel. Are the Jews running the world? And let's hear what Andrew has to say.
But I do believe there is a huge percentage of the young male population which are so disenfranchised with the system that they're looking for somebody to blame. If you want to get someone on here to discuss whether the Israelis or the Jews are actually to blame, well, that's going to be Nick, because I believe he's more qualified than I. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that young men are waking up in a world where they stand no chance of having any of the things their fathers had. They're never going to have a wife who respects them and loves them because their wife's on TikTok and believes she deserves a G-Wagon full of roses. And they believe they need a Lambo at 19. And nobody wants to work a job because jobs don't pay. And nobody wants to go to school because a degree isn't going to pay. And nobody can save up to buy a house because you can no longer compound your work in dollars. You can't go to work, do an hour's work, put it in the bank, do another hour's work, put it in the bank, and save up to buy a house because you're being outpaced by inflation, money printing, all these wars, all this Somali fraud, taxes. You're being outpaced. You can't even save money anymore. So when young men are waking up in a world where their only chance to possibly get rich is effectively gamble on crypto, literally gamble.
He's exactly right, and he deflected in a certain way because trying to get to the heart of the issue, it felt like he was being lectured most of the time by Adam, who I discovered is Jewish on the podcast. And I got to say this, Jews do have immense importance and power in this world. No matter how you want to slice it or come at it, they do. And I'm a person, I love Jewish people. And I'm not just saying that because I'm saying, oh, they're super powerful. I loved them before they were powerful. And I agree with and I support the nation of Israel, which is a controversial thing in itself. I do. I don't agree that everything they do is perfect, but I do think that they do have certain tenets and certain legitimacy as a nation, as whatever you want to say. I bring it back down to as God's chosen people. And I know that people don't want, that is the last thing what people want to hear. But when you're just following what Nick Fuentes says, because he's coming at it at a certain angle about he's coming at it from the Roman Catholic perspective, and it seems like a jealousy aspect that no, Israel, that they can't be here because the Roman Catholic Church has assumed the position and has taken the position. But we're going to get a little bit further on this because I want to actually take a look about what the more controversial thing that Andrew said later in this podcast. And it has to do with feminism, and that it's destroying the West.
It is feminism that has destroyed the West, actually. If people were still focused on family, and I would argue that if you were to get 25-year-old men and 25-year-old women in here and say, do you want kids? The men would all go, yes, I'd love a son. It's the women who go, yeah, maybe when I'm older, not now. Women don't want to have kids. And they don't want to have kids because they're holding on for a billionaire, which they saw on fucking TikTok. Yep. It is feminism which has destroyed everything. And women...
I cannot argue with him on that. And him speaking about feminism, this is the heart and the crux of the issue. And a lot of people aren't aware of this. It has so intertwined that even the greatest women in our culture, in American culture, and even just in the West in general, they are raised on this proposition that women and men are just completely equal, as in like a status hierarchy, that everything that a man should do, a woman should do, and more. And you see women put in positions that men should be in. And Andrew brings home to the point that this is the whole thing, a whole construct that evil men at the top have just interlaced and thrown on our culture so that they can have power over men, younger men, over just men in general, because the people that are beneath them, so that they can control them. They are using women to do their bidding. This really gets down to why we are having so many issues in our culture, in our way of life. Because if you really want to peel back the layers and get into it, what is driving most of this is because of women and where they have been propped up in our way of life. Churches, businesses, companies, the family, they are getting women so hyped up about abortion, about just protesting people that are being removed from our country and trying to get them out, trying to bring order into our country. And it comes down to a lot of times white liberal women, but it's not always that. It's so it has infected. It is an infection that we have that I don't know if it's really possible that we can remove it, but we need to shine a spotlight on it. And I like what Andrew says, because what he describes in this sit down with PBD, I would say that it should be shown in every high school classroom. Every high schooler should be required to watch what he says in this video regarding feminism, the whole thing through. And you can maybe bleep stuff out that you don't want them to hear. But if they made this a requirement, if Donald Trump put an executive order that every high school classroom in America, this is a part of the curriculum that they have to listen to this. Maybe that could restructure and put us right side up as a culture and where we're going to go as a society in America. What he says in this vein, this honestly could get him in jail, doing more prison time, because he's not just an American citizen. He's going to go back to the UK. And that is where freedom of speech, freedom of thought, saying something this outlandish could throw him in prison, honestly. And he brings it up. He doubles down on it. And it's the truth. It's the truth. He did just say so many things about, like, he vented a lot on this podcast regarding just how he has been treated so poorly and terribly in the United States. He thought he would get a hero's welcome coming to the United States. He's an American citizen, the most Googled man on the planet. And he comes to America and he gets immediately investigated and they want to throw him in jail. I mean, whether he's done anything wrong, I don't know. He's not been convicted. He's not been convicted of everything that people say. And I'm sure he's done things. Everybody has. Look in the mirror. What have you done? Be honest about it. Don't just say everybody else. That's what ticks me off. Everybody's got things that they've done wrong, but in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. And what he's brought up, he thought he would come to America, and he vents. He's like upset about America because they're wanting to destroy him. But it's really here that we have freedom of speech. No matter how many people that we have in power that have power and they want to try to sue you, and just government officials that want to try to rip you down and tear you down to shreds, we at least in America can say things. He's free to say it here, but those words are going to follow him back when he goes back to his UK and Romania. They're going to follow him there, and they're going to try to find any which way to destroy him. He's just one of the top three. Him, Nick Fuentes, and Alex Jones are the guys that have been in the crosshairs of our world of trying to silence. But what he articulated regarding feminism, it is gangbusters. It is what every person, every American citizen needs to hear. And I'm not just being hyperbolic. I'm not just trying to beef it up. It was legit. If you just that whole series, if you listen to nothing else on that podcast, listen to everything regarding feminism, what he says towards the tail end of it, and when he just dials in. And it is so beautiful, so well articulated that we need to put things right side up. And this stems from the Garden of Eden. Yeah, I believe in the Garden of Eden. I believe the Bible. I believe the Bible. And it started from there. When the curse came into this world, when our first parents sinned, that was the curse. It says that women they're going to try to take the role of men, try to take the role of men, but men are going to lord it over women. And that's the battle that happens all the time. Women need to be submissive to men. That is the truth. But guys should not lord it over women. This is just proper natural order of things that God has laid out in our world. That is how it is supposed to be. There should not be a woman in authority over a man, period, ever. But in our warped up way of life, and it's been intensified in the West, is that we've just made everything like that. And it's because of evil men at the top that have tried to shape our world so that it's like that, so that they can control men who are below them. All right. There's so much there. We'll leave it at that. Follow me on X and Instagram at Brandon Fogel, and smash that like button, smash that follow button, and have a great rest of your day.
I could see the cracks form in the paint, growing like a fire. What do I say? Can you see them? Can you see them?